Hey, we're back at the top again today with yet another type to go back over. Or should I say types? Yes, today's a very different video than what we normally had. Instead of continuing to see what Pokemon Sun and Moon improved on another type, we'll be looking at what Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon improved on all the types we've already covered. Those types are, in the order that we covered them, the Normal type, the Ice type, the Dark type, the Bug type, the Fairy type, the Grass type, the Fire type, the Water type, the Dragon type, and the Ghost type. We'll be looking at each type individually in that order, though there's not a lot of changes, mainly minuscule changes. I just wanted to update everyone on every change. So with that, let's recapitally go where no person has gone before as we look at all 10 types we've covered so far this year for the changes in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. We'll begin with the first type we covered back in April, the Normal type. But before we get to the changes, I do want to run through on how this is going to work. We'll check to see if any new Pokemon were added, and if it checks off an unused type, we'll make a note of it. We'll then see if any new moves were added, and we'll follow up with the moveset changes. For the moveset changes, we'll go by move type instead of Pokemon type. So let's begin. The Normal type didn't get any new forms, Pokemon, or moves, but many Pokemon got access to more Normal type moves. Let's get into this. Beware now gets access to Bind, which is backbreaking. Kyurem now gets access to Noble Roar, which is bone chilling. Lantern gets access to Spotlight, because spotlighting things deep in the ocean is necessary. Reshiram also gets Noble Roar now, which is bone melting. Tauros can now use Double Edge, which is now bone breaking. Blitzel gets access to Faint, so it has something going for it, which is nice. Weasel now gets Helping Hand, just like Ash's Weasel lent a Helping Hand, but not the move itself. Chimecho now gets Parasong, because who doesn't love a deadly chiming song? Apom now gets access to Tail Slap, or should I say Slap, since it has hands for tails. Dedenne gets Tearful Look, which is very hard to look at without crying. Deerling gets access to Headbutt now, which, with Serene Grace, could pose a problem to our sanity. Flabebe also gets access to Tearful Look, because we all need to see more things crying while holding flowers.
Hey, who left this bowl of onions here?
Hawlucha also grabs Faint too. Did it have priority already? Hoodoo grabs Mean Look because beady eyes are mean looking enough. Ladybug grabs Endure while Lickitung follows up with Thrash. I don't really want to know. Minun and Plusle also get Tearful Look. Can we please stop all the crying? Please. Why did I say please twice?
Would you get out of here?
Petal gets access to Encore, and I wouldn't be mad about that. It's a useful move. Another Tearful Look Pokemon is Patrat gets it now. But with those eyes?
Hey!
Spiritomb gets access to Disable. I wish this list would get disabled, it's getting quite long. Speaking of long, Whirlwind is now able to be learned by Wishmer. Oh, that transition made no sense? Oops. Jirachi now gets access to Lucky Chant. I didn't know that this was a Normal type move. I thought it was Psychic. Zangoose now gets access to Belly Drum, and if you have Toxic Boost, well, I hope you don't play yourself. And finally, Zigzagoon gets Extreme Speed. And let the games begin, because that was a wild set in the past. One new Normal type move was added as a tutor move, Laser Focus, and a ton of new Pokemon get access to it. Highlights are Arcanine, the Eevee lines, Scizor, most legendaries, Salamence, Metagross, and Garchomp. And if you don't know what Laser Focus is, it's a move that guarantees a critical hit on the next move. The next type we covered was the Ice type back in May. Once again, we have no new forms, Pokemon, or moves, but we do have new move pools for said type. Primarina gets access to Icy Wind, which will make VGC perhaps more interesting. Maybe. I don't know. And the Young Goose gets Ice Fang, probably to try to make it Ice Wall, but better leave that to May. And those are... Wait, there's only 2 changes? No new tutor moves? Wow. They really don't like the Ice type. The third type we went over involved the Dark type, back in June. Now once again, we did not pick up any new Dark types or Dark type moves, so we have to go what we have here, which is more movable options. I bet we're having fun, aren't we? Starting with Lurantis, who now gets Night Slash. Serena, who gets Punishment. That's a bit risque to the internet, don't you think? Litten now gets Power Trip, meaning Incineroar gets a bigger ego than it already has. Murkrow gets punishment as well, not that I would know, but is kind of keen to dishing out punishment and being arrogant. Piplup also gets access to Power Trip. Shout out to Josh. Spritzee gets Nasty Plot. I mean, with an evolution like that, it is really nasty. And Throat Chop is a brand new tutor move, which means you can silence those hyper-voicing fairies if you're quick enough, which is possible because most of them are slow AF. The next type we covered was the Bug type. Remember? It was July. I accidentally called Rabombi a Dark type in the Dark type video. The good news is, we got that cut in half because of course Normal and Dark was Alolan Raticate line, as well as Bug Fairy being the Rabombi line. Well, that won't happen again. Now then, the Bug type got 0 new additions or moves to Pokemon, but it did get more move options, you know, because that's awesome for casuals. Armaldo now gets access to Bug Bite. It's gonna sting. Cutiefly gets access to Powder now. That's more for the VGC side, but I don't have much to know about this move. This Pokemon can also get Sticky Web now, so we have more options for webs. Joltik can now learn Lunge, but that's not going to be useful on Galvantula. Spinarak gets access to Lunge as well, but it's more suited on this Pokemon than the former. Swirlix get access to Sticky Web as well, which is disgusting. As well as Dewpider, which makes a bit more sense, as it is a spider. Volbeat can now get Lunge as well. Glad to see newer moves get added onto old Pokemon. I complained about that in one of these videos in the past. The next type up is the Fairy type. Also in July, we covered the many new Fairy types in Generation 7. We do have one new addition, and that's Mimikyu's special Z move, Let's Snuggle Forever! You need the Mimikyu Z and your Mimikyu to know Play Rough. It runs off said move to become a 190 based physical fairy move. So this is our first type to actually have a new addition. About time, but as always, we have other move pool changes. Chimecho is now graced with Crafty Shield. It's nice to let signature moves on other Pokemon for once. Cottony gets access to Misty Terrain. I don't know why anybody else but Tapu Lele should be able to do that. Pachirisu gets Baby Doll Eyes because Jason Park really needs more artillery for this thing. Sentret also gets Baby Doll Eyes. Pachirisu in the making? No? Nuts. Swablu gets Play Rough. Nice coverage while Yamask gets Crafty Shield. VGC setup, anybody? Next on the list of the types we covered was the Grass type. We covered this in August, so we've almost caught up. Unfortunately, after getting a type with the new additions, we return to the land of no new things. Once again, all we have is new move pools, which some of these are actually useful. Decidueye now gets Leaf Storm for all those modest Decidueyes. Sarina can now use Power Whip. Now, while that's cool and all, it just makes it more risque. Bellsprout gets access to Strength Sap, which I believe is a really good move. On certain Pokemon, this could be a massive buff. Bouffalant can now use Cotton Guard. These Pokemon will turn into Chia Pets right in front of your very eyes.
Chia!
Cherubi gets access to Grassy Terrain. It's nice to see the terrain's getting more spread around, though. Hoppip also gets Strength Sap. This is cool and all, I'm just waiting for a more used Pokemon to get this. Illumise gets Aromatherapy as well. Nothing like a prankster status healer. Oddish now gets Strength Sap, which is what I'm talking about. This move is wild, let me tell you. Pansage can now use Spiky Shield. How does it grow thorns? Paris now gets access to Grassy Terrain, which is great and all, but it still won't protect him from getting blown up by fire attacks. Patrat can now learn Bullet Seed. Pretty good coverage, but where is it getting the seeds from? Roselia can now learn Power Whip. All those physical Roserade users rejoice. And both Swaddle and Skiddo can now learn Grassy Terrain. And with Grass Pelt, Go-Go might actually have an interesting niche. The seventh type we covered was the Fire type back in early September. We actually do have some new additions to the game, akin to just move pool changes. We have the new Pokemon Blacephalon, a Fire Ghost type Ultra Beast. It is also known as UV Burst. It is only available in Pokemon Ultra Sun. It also brings with it a new move, Mind Blown, a 150 base special fire type move where the user attacks everything around it by causing its own head to explode. The user takes 50% recoil damage. I mean, I would too. You're blowing up your own head. Calm yourself, Blacephalon. Now then, let's get to the move pools. Pansear gets access to Flare Blitz. I haven't used it enough to know if that's a good thing or not. Tepig gets Burn Up. Now, if they use this move, does that make it just a fighting type then afterwards? and Yungoos gets access to Fire Fang, as if he didn't have it already. Next on this list is the Water type, which we covered at the end of September. Sadly, water is falling from my eyes again.
Hey, who left this bowl of onions here?
As we don't have anything new for this type other than move pool options. That was fake crying, by the way. And since water type is a very vast type, like an ocean and the normal type, we're probably going to have a lot of changes to the move pools here. Palkia now gets access to Aqua Ring. Odd choice, but is it useful? Will it blend? Wishy-Washy can now make whirlpools. You think with all of them, they could do it themselves. Ducklet can now learn Aqua Jet. Not sure if this will help it or not. We'll have to see. We also got a new water-type tutor move, Liquidation, which is huge. It's a physical water move that may lower the opponent's defense stat. We don't need to run Waterfall all the time now. However, unlike this vast type, there's literally only 3 changes. That's literally so unlike the water type. In mid-October, the next type we covered was the Dragon type, which is good news, as the Dragon type does have brand new content. Not a surprise, as the Dragon type always seems to get this perennial treatment, but we do have a new Pokemon, or form, Ultra Necrozma, who is a Psychic Dragon. This is technically a new typing since it's primarily Psychic, while the Latiduo are primarily Dragon. Another new Pokemon, UB Adhesive, or Naganadel, I think I pronounced that correctly, the evolution of Poipole is a Poison Dragon type. We have one new move too, a signature Z-move of Como-O, Clangorous Soul Blaze. This Z-move gets powered up from Clanging Scales. It's a 185 base special move which requires the Comonium Z, and the move I mentioned previously, Clanging Scales. Pretty good for the mythical type, but that's not all. After using this move, it boosts every single stat that you have, except evasion and accuracy, because that would be basically broken. Though I'm not complaining, it's my second favorite type. Is that a spoiler warning? Well, let's get to the move pools. The only addition is Tropius, who now gets access to Dragon Hammer. If you're wondering why I got this, and it's not a Dragon type, well, in Japan, the Dragon type is described as a prehistoric type. And our last type, the Ghost type, which we covered at the beginning of November. The Ghost type did get a few things at its disposal, most prominently Bocephalon, which we already covered previously. But we do have the Z-move, Menacing Moonrays Maelstrom, the signature Z-move of Lunala. What you require is the Pokemon, a Lunalium Z, and Moongeist Beam. It's powered up from Moongeist Beam into a base 200 special Ghost-type move. This move can ignore the effects of the target's ability. Both Lunala and Dawn Wings Necrozma can use this move. But onto the new move pool changes, and there's quite a number of them, surprisingly. Decidueye can now learn Phantom Force. I still don't know why they made a weaker version of Giratina signature move, Shadow Force. Not only that, but Decidueye also gets a stab priority move in Shadow Sneak. Still doesn't explain why Incineroar can't get Sucker Punch, but Decidueye can. Wait, there's more! Decidueye can now learn Ominous Wind. More like Ominous Wind, am I right?
Boo! You stink!
Cubone can now learn Curse. It's a bit polarizing. Pumpkaboo can also curse up. A lot of cursing in here. Please stop. Pyukumuku can now learn Spite, as if Pyukumuku wasn't annoying enough. We got more cursing as Sandygast can curse with its mouth open wide. I appreciate that. I really do not, actually. Wait, the video isn't over just yet. I know we covered all 10 types, but there's still the remaining things that weren't touched on. We'll quickly cover what else is added, and we'll go over them more in depth in the remaining 8 type improvement videos. So, first up, we'll get to the new Pokemon. We'll start with Stakataka, or Stakataka. I don't really know how to pronounce that. I haven't really heard it myself. A Rock Steel type Pokemon, also known as UB Assembly. And Zeraora, an Electric type that hasn't been released yet. And for the moves, we have Plasma Fists, a physical electric move, Photon Geyser, an annoying bullcrap special, or physical psychic move. Too soon. Light that Burns the Sky, a special Z move that gets boosted from Photon Geyser. Searing Sunray Smash, the opposite Z move to Menacing Moonrays Maelstrom. It gets boosted from Sunsteel Strike. And Splintered Storm Shards, a rock type Z move that gets boosted from Stone Edge. Ultrally put, that's all the changes in the updates that Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon made to all 10 types that we've covered already. What changes do you like? What do you dislike? And what would you have changed? Am I too ultra for you? Let me know in the comments section below. If you enjoyed, don't forget to show your support by dropping a like from the top and subscribing if you want to see more. Let me know what type you want to see next, as I'm once again going through each type yet again. With that, I want to thank you for watching, and I hope to catch you back at the top, because that's how we do what.